Tonight, a moment the whole street is still talking about. A single scene that turned quiet loyalty into a public rupture. Carla Connor, the woman who builds empires with grit, loses control. Becky Swain, the woman who returned from the impossible, stands at the center. What happens next feels less like television and more like a lesson in how past wounds can reach into the present. Hold that image. Take it in. Because by the time this video ends, you'll have walked with Carla as she faces betrayal, followed Becky as she fights for place and pardon, and witnessed a town learning, painfully, how fragile trust can be. Stay with me. The best is still to come. Soft, domestic shots of number 6. Kettle boiling, a lavender sachet on a table, Betsy building blocks. Days like this used to be ordinary for Carla, measured, practical, built from routines that steadied her. The factory ran, the accounts reconciled, and love, when it came, was given the same meticulous care she applied to everything else. But peace, like porcelain, can look unbreakable until a hairline fracture appears. Show Carla humming as she makes coffee. Show Lisa slipping the lavender sachet into her coat. When we love someone who's been through loss and dangerous territory, we fold them into our days carefully. That's what Carla did. She believed in a future stitched together from small kindnesses. Lunches, shared jokes, Saturday coffees. It's why the dressing gown moment would feel, later, like an arrival of frost in the middle of spring. But one picture, one misplaced row, and an entire life can look different. How did a simple dressing gown become a wedge? Keep watching. You'll find out in the next scene. Flashbacks. Becky's reappearance. A courtroom-like hush. Betsy's small hand. Becky's return was cinematic. A woman supposed to be gone, suddenly back with a storm in her pockets. People call it a miracle. Others call it a danger. For Becky, coming home was not a neat, triumphant march. It was a stumbling attempt to reclaim what had been taken. A child, a place at the table, a life she'd been told she no longer had. Close up on Becky's hands, on the wraith that reads, "Rest in peace," again. She's been living at the edges of people's patience, testing boundaries with both charm and provocation. To Lisa, she's the mother of her child. Complicated, tender mercies tug at the constable's heart. To Carla, she's an intrusion that feels like a betrayal. And on the cobbles, opinions began to harden like frost. Then came the lunch that wasn't quite lunch, and the robe that changed everything. What happened when those doors closed? We'll be there in a moment. Carla and Lisa at a small outside table, Carla checking her watch. A montage of missed glances. Picture this, a table set for two, a conversation poised to be tender, and one person waiting, because life sometimes requires that the heart be patient. Carla, dressed in domestic optimism, keeps to their plan. Lisa, torn between duty and care, is delayed. The mundane becomes heavy when expectation goes unmet. Show Carla laughing politely, then glancing at her phone. Insert close-up on an empty chair. When someone we love is late, small disappointments accrue into a weight. Carla felt it as an offset in her chest, an old ache she'd learned to ignore. She went home with a pocket of hope, unaware that number 6 held a moment that would burn its way into memory. She returned expecting civility, and instead found a scene that would rewrite her sense of home. One robe, one stairway, one wrong moment. What she saw next would test everything. Becky in the shower, steam. Becky emerging, slipping into Lisa's robe. Lisa greeting, soft laughter. Carla opening the door. The shower is a sacred thing in small houses. A private ritual where steam blots out yesterday. When Becky emerged wrapped in Lisa's robe, something profoundly domestic intersected with something dangerously intimate. Clothes carry scent, memory, and, sometimes, the claim of belonging. Slow motion of Becky and Lisa's hands brushing, then Carla's key in the door. You can forgive a lot. You can forgive mistakes, lapses, and confusion. But it's much harder to forgive the feeling that your life has been trespassed in a way that's tender and deliberate. That is the sting Carla felt. She saw more than fabric, she saw a claim. What Carla did next shocked viewers, but the real question is why she snapped. Was it jealousy? Fear? Or something else buried deeper? Don't change the channel, we'll explore that now. Rapid cuts. Carla's face tightening, a hand grabbing a collar. Sound of a chair scraping. When a person with a lifetime of controlled fury loses control, it's because something deeper has been ignited. Carla didn't snap out of nowhere. She cracked where years of vigilance met an intimate betrayal. Her movement, grabbing Becky, is violent in the literal sense.